in the league. That don't matter when you standing in front of Caitlin Clark, Tiffany Hayes. I'm sorry. And all that yapping you was doing, that don't help, and that's not gonna stop her. If anything, you just gonna piss her off, and she really gonna destroy you like she did. That's all that was. Don't try to say, oh, it's because of us and no one else. Nah. There is no defense for somebody pulling up from half court. There is no defense for that. There's nothing you could do, Tiffany Hayes.
There is an unspoken law at the highest level of professional sports. You never provoke a generational superstar unless you are fully prepared for the consequences. Yet on national television, Tiffany Hayes ignored that rule and challenged Caitlin Clark with relentless physicality, trash talk, and aggressive defense during the showdown between the Golden State Valkyries and the Indiana Fever. What followed was far more than an ordinary 90-82 loss. It became a brutal psychological battle that completely shifted the momentum of the game. While Golden State's defensive strategy relied heavily on grabbing, bumping, and disrupting Clark's movement through screens, the plan ultimately backfired when Clark responded with the kind of ruthless composure and offensive aggression that only elite superstars possess. The matchup transformed into a public dismantling of Hayes and the Valkyries' defensive scheme, exposing what critics viewed as defensive desperation rather than disciplined basketball, and turning the game into one of the most emotionally charged and psychologically intense moments of the WNBA season.
Taking it to the rack here. Tiffany Hayes taking it to the rack on Caitlin Clark. Starts clapping in Caitlin Clark's face. Takes it to the rack on Caitlin Clark. Starts clapping in Caitlin Clark's face. Jaws at her right after. Jaws at her right after. At this point, do you know what Caitlin Clark said? And I'm going to bring back our...
Tiffany Hayes thought a simple drive to the basket gave her the perfect moment to challenge Caitlin Clark, but the second she got in Clark's face, clapping and jawing after the play, the entire energy of the game changed. What Hayes believed was a show of dominance instantly became a massive psychological mistake, because instead of rattling Clark, it awakened the ruthless competitive fire that has buried defenders her entire career. In that moment, the game stopped feeling like a normal regular season matchup and turned into something personal for Clark, who responded with the cold intensity of a superstar determined to punish every ounce of disrespect. Hayes tried to intimidate one of the most dangerous offensive players in basketball, but all she really did was ignite the Mamba mentality inside Clark and unleash a terrifying level of focus, aggression, and shot-making that completely shifted the momentum of the night.
Caitlin Clark shoot it over her. She shot it over... Take a look at this. Take a look. She shot it over her and takes like an extra step and a half in Tiffany Hayes' direction to let her know you ain't shit. She takes an extra step and a half, boom, shoots it from the logo, lands, takes a couple extra steps just so Tiffany Hayes can feel her. And let us know, yeah, you ain't shit. Yeah, you ain't shit. Oh yeah, that's right. It's just me and you.
After Tiffany Hayes tried to get under Caitlin Clark's skin early in the game, the matchup completely flipped in dramatic fashion. Late in the defining stretch, Clark calmly brought the ball up the floor, isolated Hayes one-on-one without calling for a screen, and pulled up from nearly 33 feet away for a cold-blooded, heavily contested three directly in her face. The shot splashed clean through the net, but the real statement came afterward, as Clark took an extra step toward Hayes, talked trash, stuck her tongue out, and made it crystal clear she believed she was completely unguardable. From that moment forward, the momentum of the matchup visibly shifted. Clark continued attacking Hayes possession after possession, including a devastating Kobe Bryant-style step-back jumper later in the game that left the defense scrambling. Statistically, Hayes' rhythm disappeared after the confrontation. She started the night a perfect 4 for 4 from the field, but after Clark's logo 3 and emotional response, Hayes shot just 3-4, 9 the rest of the game, while forcing difficult drives and missing badly at the rim. Meanwhile, Clark played with increasing confidence and intensity, turning the individual battle into a psychological showcase that energized both her team and the crowd, while setting the stage for an even more tense and revealing post-game reaction from the Golden State Valkyries organization.
They're pissed. They're hit. Tip, before she even sat down, they're never going to start the call. They're never going to start calling the fouls on her. If they did, she would never get to play the game. And this goes both ways. If you're going to be doing this, if you're going to be doing this on offense with the forearm, don't complain. If you're going to be doing this on defense, grabbing and scratching and clawing, don't complain.
Tiffany Hayes sat at the microphone visibly furious and immediately began complaining about the officiating, claiming the referees never call fouls on Caitlin Clark and saying, if they did, she would never get to play the game. But the irony of that statement was impossible to ignore considering the entire defensive strategy of the Golden State Valkyries revolved around constant physical pressure on Clark throughout the game. They grabbed, scratched, clawed, and bumped her on nearly every possession, hoping the officials would let it slide. Yet Hayes still acted outraged because Clark occasionally used her forearm to create space offensively. You cannot spend 40 minutes trying to bully a superstar physically and mentally, then suddenly play the victim the moment that player fights back and dominates the game. Hayes escalated the tension when she clapped directly in Clark's face. But Clark responded the only way elite players do, by taking over the game, dropping 22 points, drilling deep logo threes, disrupting Hayes' rhythm, and leading the Indiana Fever to a commanding 90-82 victory. That performance reinforced exactly why so many around the WNBA fear Clark's mentality. Physicality does not intimidate her, trash talk does not shake her, and attempts to rattle her often only unleash a more aggressive and unstoppable version of her game.